And yes, 0 to 60 comes in a good 6.3 seconds. And this is what the car sounds like. And launch. But the cabin is a nice place to be. It's comfortable, it's spacious, and visibility isn't too bad. You have blind spot monitoring to help and assist you. The only biggest challenge you will have driving a vehicle of this proportions is quite literally going to be getting in and out of parking lots. Ladies and gentlemen, today you guys join me in this 2026 Chevy Tahoe Z71 5.3 liter V8 with 355 horsepower all-wheel drive 10-speed automatic transmission and tows up to 8,000 pounds. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big bulking vehicle, intimidating to anyone below 5'7", but very enjoyable to drive. And let's do a quick remote start. Very quiet and tries to be very subtle. This one is mostly blacked out, and I love the look and the sheer size of this thing. This thing competes with the Dodge Durango, for example, but I must say the Dodge Durango is smaller than this one. This one is gigantic, and this one does have the off-roading package, so it does look a little bit more intimidating. As you guys can see, I did an awful job as parking, but let's go for a drive. Let me show you what it's like daily driving a vehicle such as this. But first things first, let's talk about space. This is a 3-row SUV. As you guys can see, we had kids back here. Tons of space, so you can fit grown adults here to drive a car like this. This thing in Canada at least goes for $90,000. For my Americans, I'll probably be closer to like 70 to 80,000 bucks. But push to start. Full digital gauge cluster with heated seats. All of our controls for our heating is also up here and down here. Blind spot monitoring, and let us go for a quick little drive. Nice wood trim going all around, perforated leather up here. All this is soft touch, and yes, they've improved the quality quite a bit. No two-tone stitching, nothing that crazy yet. That's for the higher models for big money. And yes, as you guys know, this is a V8, the same V8 that is going to be in the Chevy Silverado. So yes, this thing is quite literally a gas guzzler, but it makes sense. You wouldn't want to put a smaller engine in a car this massive. It wouldn't make sense. And yes, 0 to 60 comes in a good 6.3 seconds. And this is what the car sounds like. Yes, you can opt out for the bigger engine option, a 6.2 Chevy built V8 that pushes more than 400 horsepower, for example. But this is a good sweet spot because that one also requires a little bit more. It's a little bit more expensive, and that simply does make sense. But the cabin is a nice place to be. It's comfortable, it's spacious, and visibility isn't too bad. You have blind spot monitoring to help and assist you. The only biggest challenge you will have driving a vehicle of this proportions is quite literally going to be getting in and out of parking lots. Because on the highway, you are one of the biggest and most intimidating vehicles out there. People won't want to mess with you. So you're good on that front. The only problem that you might face is that people will think you're a bully because you're in a bigger vehicle. This thing tows up to 8,000 pounds, similar to most pickup trucks. But this one is more comfortable. That's the thing. You can also fold the rear seats for more space if you so desire. But this is perfect for shuttling people around. And it makes sense. Another thing I like about this one is this blacked out emblem. It's classy. This is what success somewhat feels like. Success and a lot of kids. That is what this car does to you. You spend 90 grand for a big car to fit all your kids in. And because you're able to spend 90 grand, that means you're successful. So yes, this car means if you're driving a car like this, you're successful and you have a lot of kids who need a lot of space. That's quite literally how it is. It's actually very agile for a car this big. The steering wheel is not heavy, as some of you might not have expected. The only thing you might really have to get used to from time to time, if this is your first time driving such a vehicle, look, another Chevy. Oh, that's a Trailblazer. That's a Trailblazer. I thought that was a Tahoe. That was just a Trailblazer. But another thing you're gonna have to get used to when driving this vehicle is quite literally our gear shifter. As you guys can see, our gear shifter is not down here or anywhere here. It's right beside the steering wheel. And that means all of your signal controls, your wiper controls are gonna be on this one little side. And here is where we change our gears. That will take you a hot second to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty intuitive and easy to just pop it into neutral, pop it into drive, go in any direction really. Now, let us go into a more sportier mode to show you guys what it's like to drive this thing. The thing about this car is that once you realize how quick this thing takes off, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, keeps up with entry-level muscle cars, keeps up with regular traffic on a full send. That's the scary thing. This thing is a giant 3-row SUV that can tow up to 8,000 pounds, but it keeps up with this Sentra. Is probably quicker than this Sentra, for example, can keep up with most vehicles on the road in a sprint from 0 to 60, and it sounds pretty damn good as you do it. That's the beauty of this car, and I kind of like it for that, really. It's simple, and I can't hate it. Big, bulking car. That's what it is. And your wife will most likely love it too because she's higher up. But again, takes some getting used to driving something this huge. But you grow to love it. That's the thing. And as you guys can see, my gas mileage is probably dropping precipitously right now. Because the car really isn't meant to be the cheapest on gas. It's a V8 in a big heavy car. The engine will be put through its paces while actually working for this thing. But we don't care about that. You're successful. If you can afford a $90,000 car, you should be able to decently and comfortably afford filling it up with gas. Which our current range just below a full tank is 448 kilometers. Not bad at all. You can't hate it. And as you guys can see, we also have engine stop and go. Let me show you what our backup camera looks like. Boom, 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 boom. We have 360 cameras as well, which is pretty neat. We can see it right in front of us for off-roading, though I doubt anyone would take a 3-row SUV off-roading. And we can see just on top of us as well. It is pretty neat stuff. I love it. Very, very simple. But they've thought of everything. I do love the fact that we have a full 360 camera, especially when you're back up into tight parking spots. This is greatly appreciated. And the camera quality is pretty good. Very, very nice. You can't hate it, and you can't really complain about it either. It's good. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, in case I forgot to mention as well. And we have OnStar services, which is always a plus to have in a vehicle like this. You always want somebody taking care of your car. And the thing is, it never gets old listening to this engine, but let us do some speedy driving, some spirited driving for a bit. Push this car a little bit, do a proper 0 to 60 launch, see how this car handles itself. For a big SUV like this, I'm not gonna hate whatever time it puts up. All I care is that it's comfortable, the suspension is cushy, and the car is smooth. Quite literally it. The car was not tuned to have very aggressive shifting because you most likely have kids in the back trying to fall asleep for a road trip. So, I don't mind. I like it. And it's simple. But you guys tell me, do you guys think this thing is worth $90,000? And would you go buy one over a Durango, a Suburban, those bigger 3-row SUVs, an Expedition for example? Because this thing also competes with the Ford Expedition. And yeah, that's the thing. Though I feel like the Ford Expedition is slightly more peppy compared to this one, because Ford likes to put turbos on pretty much every vehicle they have. That's what helps it feel a little bit more peppy. And I don't blame them for that. Turbos are fun. But there's always something a turbo can never really fully replace, and that's the naturally aspirated rumble of a V8. That's one thing turbos cannot really do. Different types of fun, but I prefer my big, heavier gas guzzling V8s. Just because I like them a little bit more, you know? Not for everybody, but V8s are for me. I would love to drive some more turbo-powered cars because I've heard very good things about it, but let's go for a drive. Okay, let's turn off AC so we have full power. Though that really doesn't do much in a big V8 like this. Turning off the AC won't do too much. So let us turn off our climate controls fully. There we go. That's the thing I have to get used to about fully digital gauge clusters. Navigating through a handful of screens will eventually get annoying. But if I love the car enough, it won't be much of a big deal because look at this. Wood. Wood. Napa leather. Nice cabin feel. So I'm not mad. I can't be mad. The cabin is a very, very nice place to be. One of my favorite things about this car, because they didn't try to make this thing too sporty, so I'm not gonna talk about the engine too much. But I like how intuitive it is. And I also like the displays in here. The volume knob is arguably my favorite knob in this car right now as it is. But let us do a 0 to 60. It's gonna be slightly uphill, but that shouldn't affect the times too much. And we just went over some train rails, didn't feel a thing. So 0 to 60 in 3, 2, 1. Building up the revs and launch. And 60 miles an hour. That's it, folks. That was this car fully stretching out its legs, you know? Yeah, not the quickest acceleration, but that's not what this car is built for. And we also have a built-in gap cam, which is pretty nice. Let's do that again. A proper 0 to 60 on more flat surface now. 3, 2, 1. Building up the revs and launch. And brake test. Oh, very good brakes for such a big bulking vehicle like this. Goddamn. Wow. You don't realize how much weight you are hauling around until you step on the brakes as hard as you physically can. Then realize that, wow, this thing is a heavy vehicle. If I ever get into an accident in a vehicle like this, I will most likely walking out without a scratch. Unless I decide to headbutt an 18-wheeler, then that's gonna be iffy. But as it is right now, wow. The brakes surprised me quite a bit. And yes, as I said before, this thing feels agile. Easy to drive, like look at this. Fingers turning the wheel. Would I recommend you do that? No, don't do that. Still needs, still a two-handed kind of turning wheel because it is still a big body vehicle. Though, I would recommend you get the 6.2 liter V8 in this one. As good and as peppy and as fun as a 5.3 is, it feels just slightly lacking. Not really, in the sense, the reason I'm saying this is because the 6.2 will give you a little bit more performance, and I am always gonna be happy to see a big monster like this boogie fast, because it's like watching an elephant keep up with a cheetah for a split second. It's funny to watch. It's unnatural to watch, and I love it. That's why we always love seeing a big vehicle moving faster than most other vehicles. So yes, I would recommend the 6.2, but the 5.3 is enough. Just a big family cruiser is what this thing is. That's the whole point of it. And it does a pretty decent job at it. Agile, easy to drive, very, very smooth suspension, and a very comfortable cabin to boot. What can you hate? What can you hate when you can haul your kids, your whole family really, tow all their toys, and still be comfortable enough to almost fall asleep in the driver's seat? Ladies and gentlemen, 2026 Chevy Tahoe Z71. Take care of yourself, guys, and peace.